You are listening to the Becoming the Wealthy You podcast with Jermaine Foley. If you're a woman who makes good money in your career or business, but you're not building wealth like you want to, then you're in the right place. In this podcast, you'll learn how to stop overspending, break free from the cycle of debt, save lots of cash, and become the wealthy woman you were born to be. Let's dive in. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Okay, let me tell you about a woman I know. She makes six figures, multiple six figures, or close to it. She has a career that she's worked very hard for. Maybe it's a business, or maybe she works for someone else. And she has a life that looks really, really good from the outside. And yet, every month, she gets to a certain point and thinks, where in the world did all my money go? She's smart, she's driven, she's a person that other people look up to. Yet, money is the one area she just can't figure out. And quite honestly, this was me. And it's a lot of the women that I work with in my private coaching practice. And I'm guessing that it might be you too. And so I'm so excited to share that starting today, I am going to be diving into the reasons and the patterns behind why this continues to happen. So like I said, I've worked with dozens of women who fit this exact description, and I was one of them, right? And there's actually a term for this. It's called the Henry effect. Henry stands for high earner, not rich yet. People who earn good money, sometimes very good money, but that income hasn't translated into wealth yet. And I did an entire episode on the Henry phenomenon a couple of episodes ago, which was episode 130. So feel free to check that out if you identify as a Henry. A Henry, again, is someone who is a high earner, but you're not rich yet. You totally identify with the woman I described earlier. And here's the distinction about Henrys that I want to make. Income is not their problem. They've already solved that part. But when it comes to building wealth, as you all know, income is just one piece of it. I teach something called the 5 core areas of money. And I say, if you want to be wealthy, if you want to build wealth, if you want to get on the track of being financially secure, you must master the 5 core areas of money, income just being one of those areas. Now, besides income, the next one that I see that trips people up, that causes people to wonder where in the world all their money is going, it's spending. Spending is the next area, right? So when you think about the 5 areas, you've got income, spending, debt, savings, and investing. So you have to get all 5 of those in control, working like a well-oiled machine in order for wealth to accumulate. And besides income, once your income is good, what I see is that spending is the number one reason people aren't building wealth. I say all the time that spending, overspending, it's not just spending, it's overspending that causes so many of us to not be where we want to be financially. I believe it's the number one wealth stealer for many of us. But here's what I want you to know about spending. It's not just spending randomly here or there. It's usually the patterns that we fall into. Specific spending patterns that show up in very specific moments. Moments when you're bored, moments when you're stressed, moments when you're celebrating, moments when you're trying to make someone else feel better, when you're trying to make someone else happy, moments when you simply want things to be easier than they are. And over time, those moments create spending decisions. And when those decisions repeat week after week and month after month, they quietly turn into patterns. So in this series, we're going to name 7 of those spending patterns, not as personality types, not as character flaws, but as patterns, because spending patterns can be changed. For most of you, when you hear these, you're going to recognize yourself in 2 or 3 of them. And for some of you, you may only recognize yourself in one, but that one happens on repeat and you're like, oh my gosh, this is me. I need to get this under control. And so what's going to happen is today I'm going to give you an overview of the 7 patterns. And over the next several episodes, we're going to go deeper into each one. So let's go ahead and dive in. So the first spending pattern is the boredom buyer. Oh my gosh, I can relate to this one. This is the I've got time. Let me run into the store. I don't have anything else to do. Let me see what's going on Amazon. All of the above, right? And this pattern shows up when spending becomes a way to fill unstructured time. There are 2 versions of the boredom buyer, and the common thread underneath both versions is boredom. It's when your brain is looking for stimulation or something to do. Sometimes boredom finds you, or sometimes you go looking to fix the boredom that you're experiencing. So let's look at version 1 first. That's the boredom that finds you. Usually it looks something like this. You have a gap in your schedule and you're already out and about. An example could look like running into Marshall's in between appointments, browsing Nordstrom just to look on your lunch break, shopping in the airport while waiting for your flight, walking through stores just because you have time to kill. What's happening here is that you have unstructured time combined with easy access, because if you were in the middle of nowhere, you wouldn't be able to go and shop. But because you have this time to kill and access to going into stores, that's what you do. So instead of sitting with the idle or boring moment, your brain looks for stimulation, and shopping is the way that it does it. And of course, there's a financial impact to that. A lot of small, unplanned purchases that feel harmless in the moment, but they add up. It's like death by 1,000 cuts. Eventually, it all adds up over time. Now, the second version of the boredom buyer is boredom you go looking to fix. So you're at home, you're understimulated, and you deliberately go looking for something to do. And instead of doing something that doesn't impact your finances, you might start browsing on Amazon, scrolling on Zara or Target or any other shop. This could look like late night shopping on your phone, wandering websites with no real intention to buy, but then something catches your eye and you end up purchasing something. You create this opportunity yourself. And here's what's underneath it. There's, again, mental understimulation. Your brain is looking for stimulation, novelty, or excitement. It wants to be entertained, and it does it through shopping. And again, the financial impact is that you make impulse purchases that weren't truly needed and are often forgot about shortly after you buy them. And again, it's like death by 1,000 cuts. The more you do this, the more they add up, and your money just slips through your fingers. The second spending pattern is the relief seeker. This is I just need to take the edge off. I had a long day. The kids drove me nuts. I finally got them in bed. I just need to decompress. I just need to relax. So you're spending after a stressful or overwhelming moment or day. Examples could look like stress shopping after work or buying something just to feel better. That's the quintessential retail therapy. And what's underneath is that you're stressed, you're emotionally overloaded. The financial impact for the relief seeker is that spending money becomes a coping mechanism for emotional regulation. So you're using your money to make yourself feel better. And I always say this, there's not enough money in the world to get rid of your negative emotions. So you have to figure out a different way to cope with stress and overwhelm and having a hard day. The third spending pattern is the experience enhancer. This is if we're going to do it, we might as well do it. This is layering spending on top of an already exciting experience. An example might look like you already have this amazing vacation planned and you've got to make it even better. So we got to get first class flights and the best room and make sure we extend it and add this on and make sure we do that too. Right? It could be that you're already going out with your friends to an amazing restaurant. You got to add something else on top of it. Maybe there's, a limo that's going to come pick you up. I know might be a little bit of extreme, but you just got to make it. You got to have a new outfit on top of it. It can't just be the thing that's already amazing, that's already exciting. That can't be enough. It's like you've got to amplify it. You got to make it even better. You have to enhance an already amazing experience. What's underneath that is excitement, momentum. Again, you just want to amplify it, make it better and make it better. It's like you want more dopamine. And there's often a belief that spending more will make the experience even better, but that often backfires. The experience is already great. It's already amazing. And when we amplify and add, the financial impact is that we end up overspending, and that actually decreases the joy and the enjoyment you could have experienced from the thing, right? Because in the back of your mind, you're thinking about how much money you're spending or that you shouldn't be spending that much. And you're justifying it by saying you'll think about it later, right? When the trip itself was already fantastic and the dinner out with your friends was already going to be amazing, but you had to make it even better. So again, you end up spending more money and doubling what it would have cost you instead of just going with the thing that was already good. The fourth spending pattern is the rewarder. So this could sound like either I earned this or I deserve it. This pattern can show up in two different ways. So version 1 is when something truly big happened. Maybe you got a promotion, hit a big milestone, or maybe you've accomplished something that you've been working towards and you want to celebrate. Right? And there's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes it's unplanned, unintentional, and we just go all out. And that's how we spend. We do it to reward ourselves. But version 2 is a little different. So version 2 is the I deserve it mindset. And what's different about this one is that nothing happened, but you work hard, you make good money, and you had a long week. And the thought becomes, I deserve it. Because of all of these things, I deserve it. And so what happens is you start celebrating achievements with spending, treating yourself after a tough week, or buying something because you feel like you've earned it. And what's going on underneath is the desire to acknowledge your effort and your success. And you can do that without spending. But a lot of us feel like spending is the only way to do that. And so the financial impact is that spending becomes the default reward system for your life, which can quietly cause lifestyle creep. It can quietly cause overspending, and any accomplishments that you've made with your income, maybe growing your income, getting promotions, getting raises, starting a new position, it gets eaten up with the lifestyle creep because every time you do something amazing, you have to spend more. And then again, that just eats up the money. So the fifth spending pattern is the over giver. And this pattern can also show up in two ways. Version 1 is spending on yourself after constantly giving to others, right? You've taken care of everyone else. You supported everyone else, and spending or buying yourself something is the one thing that feels like it's just for you. And that is what you do to kind of feel better about the overgiving that you're doing, right? You're a little bit exhausted, you're a little depleted, and spending becomes that one thing that you do just for yourself. It's a way you cope with feeling depleted and like you just need something that's just for you. Now, version 2 is a little different because it's overspending on others. It's overgiving to others for birthdays, holidays, celebrations. You want people to feel loved and appreciated. But sometimes that generosity crosses over into making you feeling financially strapped or financially strained. And so what is happening is you're overspending on gifts to celebrate others. And what's underneath that is that you believe that generosity equals love. And sometimes that is mixed with people pleasing and trying to make other people feel better, trying to make other people happy. And here's the financial impact. You either overspend on others or you overspend to compensate yourself after feeling depleted. Okay, so let's dive into number 6, which is the social spender. And this can sound a little like this. I don't want to be the only one not doing it. And this pattern can also show up in two ways. Version 1 is more of a social pressure, spending to match what everyone around you is doing. And version 2 is like a lifestyle standard, maintaining a lifestyle that feels normal within your social circle. So this could look like girls' trips, dinners out, clothing expectation, cars, neighborhoods, vacations. And what's underneath is belonging and social comparison. And of course, we know that the financial impact can be huge because your spending quietly rises to match the environment around you. Okay, so now we're down to the final spending pattern, which is the convenience spender, and that's number 7. And we all do this. And it sounds a little like, I just need this to be easier. I don't have time. Let me just order from DoorDash. Let me just pay somebody to do this. Let me just get it off of my plate. And so this is all about spending money to remove friction, to save time, or to reduce effort. And listen, I want you to know that there's nothing wrong with this at all. There's nothing wrong with any of the patterns I named individually, but when it's your go-to, that's when it becomes a problem. So this could look like ordering food delivery, paying for expedited shipping, taking Uber instead of dealing with parking, hiring help for your tasks that you probably could do yourself. And what's underneath this? A lot of times it's just mental fatigue, poor time management, or just decision overload. And when your brain is tired, the number one thing it wants to do is seek convenience. And that feels like relief in the moment. And so that's what you do. And of course, there's a financial impact for this one too. That is that convenience purchases feel justified individually, but they can quietly become one of the biggest spending leaks in your wealth building bucket, right? When you're constantly doing a bunch of convenience spending, it can cause a leak in your wealth building bucket. Now, as you listen to these, you probably recognize yourself in more than one. Most people rotate through several of these patterns, but usually there's a couple that show up more often for each individual. There's also a thought pattern that tends to run quietly in the background for many of these, and it sounds a little like this. I'll catch up next month. My bonus will cover it. I make good money, I'll figure it out. I'll tighten things up later. I'll put it on my credit card and pay it off. I'll just take it from savings and put it back when I get my next commission check. And these are the thoughts that we use to justify all of these patterns that we may find ourselves in. And as we go through the series, I'll help you to really unpack all of this, to see yourself even clearer, and to find a way forward. Because at the end of the day, you must get control of your spending if you want to build wealth. Okay, I promise you, if your spending is out of control, you will not be able to build wealth. And I don't care how much money you make. This is why you have people who make millions of dollars a year still broke, still filing for bankruptcy. Why? Because their spending was out of control. They did not have the 5 core areas of money working for them. That's income, spending, debt, saving, and investing. And so, like I said earlier, over the next several episodes, we're really going to dive deeper into the spending patterns that cause many of us to remain Henrys, high earning, but not rich yet. So make sure you tune in for the next episodes, invite a friend or two to join you. And if you haven't had an opportunity to leave a review on the podcast, please do so on Apple. This will allow other people to find the podcast and really get the same information you're getting that really is not shared widely, right? I bet a lot of what I share with you, you've not heard anywhere else before. This is a new way of thinking about money. This isn't about budgeting or going on a strict budget. This is about changing what's underneath, getting to the root cause of why you make money, but you don't have as much to show for it as you want. All right, I will see you all next week. Bye-bye. Hey, if money is the one area of life you just can't seem to figure out, even though you make good money, you're not alone. That's why you're invited to book a complimentary one-to-one money consultation with me so that we can figure out how to solve your biggest money challenges. To sign up, simply go to jermainefoley.com/consult or check out the show notes. Hope to meet you soon.